Hello, it's David again for another vlog. This week's footage is of Crysis 1, which I bought cheap on Steam the other day for a deal. Also, I'm doing some market research on the CryEngine, which I'm kind of falling in love with. But anyways, I have a very interesting subject to talk about, which may be slightly controversial, but it's purely an idea. And I had like an epiphany while out on a walk earlier today. I was sitting on a rock by a lake, watching the water flow by, and I thought to myself how the waves are rippling along the water, and how that is reproduced in the ocean simulator in Blender, and that's simulated using displacement maps that are generated through maths algorithms. So you could basically say that the way the water is flowing is because of maths. And then I thought to myself, I looked around myself and I thought, well, most of the graphics in Blender works off maths algorithms. So you could essentially make, well, this was my theory. My theory was you could essentially make the entire universe in a game with maths algorithms, obviously at a very low level, but essentially, if you see how Blender works and how the graphics are done in Blender and the physics and everything else, it boils down to maths, basically, maths and logic, and logic is sort of a part of maths. So you know what I mean? Everything can be boiled down to maths, and this brought me on to thinking, well, if this is true, then what are the possibilities that the entire universe that we live in now could be made of maths? Just nothing else, but just maths. Now, can you think of that possibility? Now, we already know that we could, if we had enough computer power and enough memory, we could essentially make the entire universe in a video game. Obviously, that's not even possibly feasible at the time, because there's just not enough computer memory to be able to cope with that. But in a year or so, there should be enough computer power to make the entire planet in a game. And so I did some research on it, and I realized that I'm not the only one who's had this thought. There's some cosmologists and physicists who've had the same idea. And it got me to thinking some really cool things that, again, are just ideas. I think a lot of people might find these ideas a little bit difficult to believe because they go against what you would normally believe. But hear me out. So I read about Einstein's theory of relativity, and he said that the universe is made up of 4 dimensions, which is a mathematical structure called space-time. And now, the space has 3 dimensions. We know that already from games, and the 4th dimension is time, which interests me because if the entire universe would be made up of just a math structure, then looking at it from the outside, the 4th dimension of time would be static. It wouldn't move. So what I'm basically saying is the possibility that time, all of time ever, in the history of ever, and all the time to come, is already happened, which is really, really, really difficult to get your head around. So the sort of metaphor to kind of think of this is, if we're currently in the what do you call? We're currently in the inside the math structure that is the universe. So if we were to go outside of it, we would be able to see the entire universe as one static object that's not moving. So, and the best way to show this is a DVD. Like, a DVD has an entire movie on the disc that's static. Now, we're not in the movie, we're outside the movie. So if you think of the DVD or the movie as a math structure, you can see that it doesn't move, and the entire DVD and everything that happens in the DVD has already happened. If that makes sense, all the frames already exist. And for the people in the movie, the actors, obviously it's so difficult to get your head around this, but they've already experienced everything, or well, how do I say this? They're experiencing the movie, and so time to them is not static, it's happening. So it would be kind of like us basically living in a DVD, and the entire universe being made of a math structure, which is perfectly, well, I don't want to say it is possible, it is actually possible that the entire universe is made of a math structure, but the question is it? And that's the question that's just so difficult to answer. And I don't know if it is, but it's feasible, and I understand it. If you just watch this video multiple times and try and get your head around the idea that all of time has already happened, you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Oh, look at that kill. Anyways, so just think about it after this video. Go home and think about it, or you're probably at home when you're watching this. But just think about the possibility that everything is just made of maths. And if you're not familiar with a math structure is like, if you take a super simple math structure would be if you were to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? Which are the most simple things ever. That's a data structure. And if you think about this, you'll come to think that the most boring subjects in school, physics and maths, start to make sense. And this is the epiphany that I've had. Everything that I've ever studied about maths and physics now makes sense, because I understand that it's not just a stupid thing to bore me in school, but it makes sense, and the possibility that the entire universe is made of maths exists. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Goodbye for now, and see ya.